Hi Cancer, this is Mimi with Divination by Mimi. Welcome to your January 1st to the 15th, 2018 tarot reading with a little bit of astrology and some oracle if necessary. You are a cardinal sign, which means you're an initiator, you're a starter, and you are water, which means you tend to be about relationships and emotions. You rule the fourth house, which is about family, again relating, and intimate relationships, intimate partnerships. And your ruling planet is the moon. So very intuitive, emotional, empathic, very connected. Your antenna is definitely on. There is a full supermoon in your house, in your constellation on the 1st of January. So that's a great way to start off the month. It's a supermoon, so it's very close to the earth, very powerful, okay? It's like having all the bars on your phone, so you're getting really good reception. And it's making some beautiful trines. It's at 11 degrees of Cancer. Therefore, the sun is in the opposing house or the opposing constellation, the 10th house of Capricorn, also at 11 degrees. 11 is the master number of service. You're going to find that repeated regularly for a little while here. It has a lot to do with the way that we're collectively moving, our fate, toward the collective, toward moving and helping the other so that we can return to the one spiritually and intellectually and physically. So again, with this full supermoon, it's very impactful. Also, there's some lovely aspects occurring. There are a couple of trines occurring. So the first one of note you will really enjoy because it has a lot to do with relating in very personal relationships and with family. The harmonious trine that occurs has to do, and particularly with romantic relationships. It has to do with the archetypal male, that is Mars, who is direct and in the sign of Scorpio, the 8th house. It's making a trine with Venus, which is all about relating, and that's in yours. That's in Capricorn, I believe. Yeah, Capricorn, yes. And which is directly across from you. And then, of course, with the moon, your ruling planet. So what this will mean is some lovely sexual encounters, very intimate sexual encounters. This can also mean that the impetus to action might occur as it relates to family. So let's say you and your partner have thought about adopting. You actually go for it. On this particular day, you might be like, okay, let's look up online for adoption agencies. We've been talking about it, let's do it. Or maybe you've been courting someone for years, you've been seeing them, you know they're your soulmate, you know they're your twin flame. You decide you want to ask them to marry you. It's that kind of an energy. And of course, the sex is nice too. The other wonderful aspect, and you'll appreciate this too, is with Neptune. So there's another trine occurring with Venus, with the moon, your ruling planet, in your house, and Neptune in Pisces, Neptune direct. This is about an aspect of you that's wonderful, psychic energy. This is an opportunity for incredible downloads of information from Akashic records, from the universe, from the collective unconscious. So not only do you need to pay attention, which you naturally kind of do, to symbols and signs and occurrences and messages and songs and dreams, things that happen to you, you know the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like you're driving one way and all of a sudden you don't even think about it, but you go a different way to work and there's a reason for it because you see some sign along the way which tells you something that you needed to know for your soul's journey. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking to. Well, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong, big time, for this full moon with this trine occurring. So watch those, watch your dreams. And so not only will you be watching for it and be open to it, but it'll be coming through like messages. So wonderful time. And again, a lot of this is at 11 degrees, master number of service. So even though you may not intend to be servicing others in your actions or your thoughts, it ends up happening. Like kind of like if you're in class and you're the one that raises your hand to ask the question about the algebraic equation, you will be serviced in the explanation, but so will someone else who maybe didn't think to ask that question that way or was afraid to ask that question. So it's kind of indirect servicing of others. So it's a win-win. And there's other aspects that are of import. There are 2 full moons this month, which is kind of interesting. But we'll get into those other aspects at the second half of the month as they tend to be there. So we're going to get into your reading. I'm going to do a 4-card pull. This 4-card pull is based upon a concept of something that's going on in your life, either a concern or a situation that you're experiencing in your life. a positive aspect to that, a negative aspect to that, and then some overall advice. And I'm using the Universal Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which is just a recoloration of the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck, a little more volume added. I think that's it. I did want to thank you. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But I did want to thank everyone who subscribed recently. We're growing little by little. And I just feel like our family is learning from each other. The messages and the texts and the comments that you leave help me, help other people. And that just serves to help the whole, the greater good. Also, so thank you for that. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sharing. If it doesn't resonate with you, or especially if it does resonate with you, share it with someone else, because it might help them too. And everyone can use as much help as they can get right around this time. Like I was saying, I don't think I got a chance to tell you, but Uranus is going direct after being retrograde a very long time, and that's an unpredictable energy, very fast pace. Anything can happen, kind of sudden changes energy. So you might see that on the world stage. So sharing something that resonated with you might help someone else, because these times are moving fast and they're confusing. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into your reading for Cancer. Cardinal, water, ruler of the 4th house. What's going on with Cancer for January 1st through the 15th, 2018? Cancer, January 1st through the 15th, 2018. What's up with Cancer? What's up with Cardinal Cancer, ruler of the 4th house, mother of the zodiac? Motto is I feel. With the full moon in the 4th house in Cancer, making beautiful trines, as it has to do with everything Cancer cares about: relating, family, love, and intuition, messages from above. What message can Cancer get today about a situation or question or concern they have in their life for January 1st through the 15th, 2018? Hecate, what messages for Cancer? Thank you. Ooh. The situation right now is something to do with work or a project where you are working on a team with other people. Really feels like work. It looks like you might be giving everything to a project, and you've got partners, you know, other people on your team, but they're not pulling their weight. They're not putting in what you're putting in. Let's see what positive aspect of this is. What are you possibly overlooking that is positive, or what's a new perspective on this situation? Thank you. Oops. Huh. Positive thing is a new opportunity. So whatever this project is that you're working on, it is worth it. This is a very positive new beginning, and it is something that you care about. It's about relating. So if this is at work, if this is in your workplace, whatever you're going to do here, whatever this project is going to help in relating to other people, in relationships. If this is something that's private and personal at home, like, I don't know, let's say you're planning a wedding, and it kind of feels like you're planning a wedding. It feels like you're doing everything, like maybe your bridesmaids, or your maids of honor, or your best men, you know, your wedding party, your friends, or your partner, you know, your betrothed, or you know, when you're going to marry, is not helping. It feels like you're pulling all the weight here. The ultimate outcome of this project is good. It's a new beginning of love, of relating. Negative aspect. So you have been feeling stuck with a certain idea, stuck with a certain concept of how things are supposed to be, but it imprisoned you. Okay, see that? Loosely bound, easily could escape from that. Blindfold. In the background there's a castle, but she's surrounded by these swords with lots of space, only 8 swords. Right? It's a stable number, lots of space in between those swords. She could easily escape this, but because swords are mental energy, thoughts, thinking patterns, this is something that you need to look at. So I think a lot of it has to do with your perspective on it. So the positive thing is that whatever project you're working on, is worth it. It's something that's good. It's a valuable project, and it will serve you and others. That kind of talks about this new full moon at 11 degrees, that master number of service. But the way you're going about it is wrong. You have a limited belief, I guess, maybe on asking for help. So let's see what the overall advice is. In this situation, this project, when there's been a limiting mindset or a limited thought process on how it's supposed to work, what's some overall advice for Cancer for this project, where it feels as though the workload's not being shared by all parties involved? What does Cancer need to know so that they're not pulling the full weight of this January 1st through the 15th, 2018 for this project starting to weigh on Cancer? What is the... There we go. Took long enough. I'm going to get clarification on this. You got the 8 of Cups, which is walking away from something, but you got it in reverse. So it feels as though at the moment you're actually contemplating giving up on this project. If it's work, you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I am sick of doing all the work. I'm sick of being the one that schedules the meetings and this, that, and the other. Or if it is a wedding or a party or something like that, something familial, relatable as in personal life, I'm sick of doing all the planning. I'm sick of going to these appointments for the cake on my own and the venue on my own. Just giving an example. And you're so limited in your thinking about, what I'm getting from this is your right to ask for help, or the manner in which you ask for help. So perhaps what you're doing is stewing in the fact that they should be helping. Just they should be helping. It just should be like that. And they're not doing it. But rather than limiting it like that, I think what you're being advised here is rather than give up on it, your concept, the thought in your head, and I guess universal mind knows this, is you're ready to just throw the towel in on it. It's saying don't do that, because it is worth it. It's a new beginning. It's a beautiful new beginning of love and relating, and you love that, Cancer. It's asking you, superconscious God is asking you to look at how you're approaching it. I'm not saying you're not doing enough, and I'm not saying that you're being told to carry the whole weight yourself. That's not what this is about. I have a feeling what you're being advised is you may not understand that you have boundaries and a right to ask for help. So instead of communicating it, you seem to be just sitting there in anger about it. So I think what you're being advised to do here is to communicate your feelings on this. It's not always easy for Cancer, because most Cancers, at least the ones that I know, and kind of goes by the crab going into the shell, by nature, you tend to be shy. Other aspects considered in your chart, of course, but you tend to be shy, kind of reserved, okay, protected. But you have a right to boundaries, and you have a right to ask for help, because you're correct. You should not be carrying the entire weight of the project or the wedding or whatever it is on your own. You do have a right to get help. Everyone should be involved in the project, and everyone should be appreciated for their involvement. So you're being advised to communicate. Find a way that you're comfortable with. Maybe you don't want to be confrontational, but you're so friggin' angry, and you're afraid that if you express it or you talk to them, you're going to start getting pissed off and just pulling up stuff from 7 years ago in the relationship. Stop and think. Again, new perspective. This is limiting. There's more than one way to communicate something. Perhaps you can do this from a space that you don't, so you're more right brain as a water sign. Perhaps you're being called to involve the left brain a little bit more, meaning detach yourself emotionally from the situation and just look at it from a logical perspective. Should one party be handling everything that 2 people are benefiting from? Absolutely not. So you're going to have to take kind of a Dr. Spock perspective, or what's that character on The Big Bang? What's his name? He's the most popular character. I can't think of his name. He's got another spin-off show. But think Dr. Spock from Star Trek. Totally logical. and stop and you think, okay, when you go to communicate with them, instead of getting emotionally attached, which will cause arguments and will be confrontational, rather say, hey, so and so and so and so, or boyfriend or fiance, seems like I'm doing everything, and that doesn't really seem fair. I would like to discuss you picking up the slack because we're both benefiting from this project. Why should I be doing all the work? Something along those lines. Okay, I hope that helped. Again, if you'd like to book a reading, email me at mimimemes@hotmail.com. That email address is in the description box below the video. Yours wasn't too long, thankfully. If you have a comment or question, leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for those that have booked readings. I'm so happy to be part of any decision-making process that you've had in your life, any milestones in your life. And with that, Cancer, I will see you for the other lunations and then the second half of January for your reading. You take care.